Pumpkin Hat Tutorial Crochet Along Part 2. Now that we have our flat circle the way we want it, we are going to stop increasing. Slip stitch and chain 2 to start your next round. This does not count as a stitch. Now we are going to put one front post double crochet and or one double crochet into every stitch of your previous round. This part is easy. So that first one was a front post double crochet, and now we are going to make a row of regular double crochet to go in between the posts. Yours is going to be different depending on how big you made your flat circle, but just go 1-to-1 correspondence. One regular double crochet in every double crochet of the previous round, all the way until you get to your next front post double crochet, and then we are going to put a regular front post double crochet. No increases, just 1-to-1 all the way through to the other side. If it is helpful to you, at the end of each row you can count to make sure you have not dropped or added a stitch. Now if you do find that you have added or dropped a stitch, don't frog it, just fix it in your next row by adding a stitch or decreasing by a stitch. No one will notice, I promise. Plus it's not really like this hat gets much play outside of the month of October and maybe November anyway. And so just keep hooking. You see how easy this part is? We are going to continue in this manner until we get to the length that you want your desired hat. You want it to go from the crown to the center of the ear. In the comments, I'm going to put a link to my favorite hat sizing chart, which was made by collecting a bunch of data in a very nerdy way, which satisfies me greatly, and I think you'll like it too. And now that your hat is your desired length, we are going to start to make the edging right here. And this will take us from the center of the ear down to the bottom of the ear. Insert your hook into that top stitch and slip stitch. We are going to chain 1. And now we are going to put 1 single crochet into every stitch of the previous round. This part of the crochet along is the easiest of all the stages. Feel free to watch Netflix mindlessly while you are doing it. And if you're watching something interesting, let me know in the comments, because I am in between seasons of my favorite shoujo and need something new to watch. Who are we kidding? I have my social media channels, I have a full-time job, I have kids. I don't have any time to Netflix, but I'm living vicariously through you. So hopefully that's what you will be doing while you're making this hat. It's very soothing. All the way around until you get to the first stitch of your previous row. I probably should have put a stitch marker in to indicate where you are going to start your next row, but I can do that right now. There is always time to do better. Here you go. Here is the stitch marker. And now for this row, we are going to go into the back loops only, and then put 1 single crochet into every stitch of your previous round. There you go, back loops only. That's going into the center V, pulling up a loop, and then yarning over and going through both loops. And you're going to do this for 2 or 3 rows until your hat is your desired length, which goes from the middle of the ear again until the bottom of the ear, and that is your edging detail. You can see it on the final product here. Fastening off. We are going to snip, snip. I'm going to demonstrate on the dog version of this hat just so that I can reuse the same footage. Rather than finishing off this row with using a slip stitch, what I'm going to do is pull up on that final stitch, and then using an embroidery needle or just my crochet hook, I'm going to go underneath the V of the first stitch of that previous round and then back through the center V of that final stitch, just like this. And then I'm going to pull, but not too tight. I want it approximately the same width as the rest of my stitches, and that makes an invisible join. You can see how seamless that looks. Now what I am going to do, because this is a hat and it is going on somebody's head and is going to go through a lot of abuse, I want to make sure that this is very nice, tight, and secure. So I am going to tie a knot. And then following that, I am going to weave in this tail by going in a bunch of random different directions just to make sure that this tail is not going anywhere and this hat is not going to come undone. And so this concludes part 2 of the crochet along, and I will see you again next week when we will put the stem and the tendril on this pumpkin hat.